Here with Melanin Sovereignty, where we help high spiritual coaches, teachers, melanin high spiritual coaches, teachers, leaders, healers, how to highly monetize. And to answer the question that's been coming, are non-Black people welcome? The answer is yes. We just completed the 5-day money vortex today. And one of the women in there is from Estonia. And so all people are welcome. The reason why it's melanin sovereignty and the reason why you hear me constantly saying melanin sovereignty is because I have been informed that if I don't specifically speak to Black women, Black coaches, Black healers, Black teachers, Black shamans, etc., that you somehow don't place yourself here. And that speaks to a larger picture. So something that just happened inside of the 5-day money vortex. Today was the last day. It was wonderful. Everybody was so engaged. And the women who were unable to engage, they were in communication with me. Like this, oh my God, this is so riveting. Today's topic is so riveting. So today's topic is, can Black, and I'm saying Black just to be, there's an electricity when we say Black, right? When I say Black, when you say Black. So the topic of today is, can Black coaches command big money? Can Black money? And so I started to talk about this because most of the folks inside of the 5-day money vortex are Black women. And so last year, for the first time in my career, I taught a course strictly for Black transformational leaders. It was called 5-Figure Clients for Melanin Messengers. That was the first time in my career that I never marketed anything specifically to Black people. I always thought that because I'm Black, naturally, Black people would show up. And that was not the case. And so it's part of why today I say melanin sovereignty. I'm talking to melanin folk, and I give scenarios that are pertinent to us. Or pertinent within the Black experience. But sorry if that noise, getting a yard, a fence repaired. So pardon the noise if you can hear it. So this topic of melanin transformational leaders, money, the transformation industry, it is so compelling and necessary. And where I get my information, what I'm getting ready to talk about now, this comes from my experience being a Black female in the transformation space, a Black female in the transformation space who has crossed the 6-figure mark, which is rare for Black transformational leaders. It is rare, okay? I can count on one hand the number of melanin who lead with spirituality, because there's plenty of Black coaches. When I say plenty, I mean more than a handful, who are business coaches who have crossed the 7-figure mark, and they are hardcore business coaches, consultants, that kind of a thing. They're definitely not going to be going into metaphysics and, communicating with ancestors and harnessing the quantum realm for the most part, and high spiritual mechanics and monetizing high spiritual work and navigating spiritual attacks as you're ascending. Like I can count on one hand how many people are in that domain. Okay. So we're talking about a super niche demographic of people. So here at Melanin Sovereignty, I really care about folks who are doing highly spiritual work, highly monetizing that. Okay. So it's not just a consultant who's helping business owners get speaking gigs. It's not just, a business coach who's helping their clients get their, first 5-figure clients and their first, right. It's not that. It's not hardcore business coaching. Business coaching is a part of it, but a lot of it, I'd say 80% of it is coming into power. That's what we're doing here in Melanin Sovereignty. And this is where Black women are failing in the transformation space. The unwillingness to come into power. What do I mean when I say power? Let me tell you what I don't mean. I don't mean force. I don't mean emotionless. I don't mean stoic. I don't mean any kind of like, that what white colonial thinking has taught most of us what it means to be powerful. When I say powerful, I mean extreme femininity, first of all. It's what that Tao, I don't remember his name, that Asian teacher talked about, the ability to fight without fighting. It's extremely feminine. It is allowing. I've talked this week and I think last week about allowing. Wednesday, I talked about allowing yourself to be penetrated by things that feel unloving, relaxing and breathing around it and asking yourself, what is the value in this? That's a feminine characteristic. Being able to watch one's ego at work, being able to watch one's feeling when you have feelings that are hard, right? You have a scenario with me. If you're in relationship with me, your power is always going to be challenged because I'm the battery. I'm perpetual confrontation. And not in like a confrontation, not like that. It's because of the standard that I am, period. It's just who I am. Sort of like just my very presence is that. The questions that I will ask you, the way that you will be with me will cause me to ask you a question. And all of this is so good. But when you're unwilling to be powerful, you run from it. And so we are very emotional creatures, Black people. Extremely emotional. The problem is our emotions use us versus us using our emotions. We feel angry and it's like, right, at somebody versus allowing that fire to really sit and then taking the brain and being like, okay, what will I do with this? Getting upset because of something that happens, feeling hurt or bothered and letting that stop you or cause you to do something that takes you out of the game. So let me go to this. I feel like I've been a little bit unfocused today. So let me go back to where I kind of started in the beginning of today's video. So in 2011, I came into this industry unaware that there was an industry of coaching and transformation. I didn't know you could make money helping people. I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time, and I just started networking in like the sistership circles and the yoga circles and all those circles, and they were predominantly white. Okay. And I got introduced to a white woman named Katie Freiling, redheaded, freckled woman in San Diego. And she was selling it was called Cash In On You. That was the name of the program. And it was the first time I had seen the video series, right? Where somebody does 3 videos and then they sell you something at the end. So this was 2011. It's the first time I had seen anything like this. And I was like, oh my God, look at what she just did. This is amazing. Like, people do this? Like, oh my God, I'm so doing this. So I enrolled in that. And that was my introduction to the transformation industry and making money online. So I've never been the person to be meeting people in person unless it's like for a VIP day. And that was as I grew. So from the jump, I was trained to build a business online. And that's what we do here at Melanin Sovereignty. We show you how to build a business online. You want to live all over the world, you build your business online. So I just started growing my business, networking more, getting out, I'm a worker. Especially back then, I was like I had not yet developed world consciousness yet. So I would burn myself out. I would work myself, grind myself into the ground. And all the coaches were white. They were white. Everywhere I went, they were white. And sometimes, every now and then, I would see a Black woman. And this is like Oakland, San Francisco, okay? Every now and then I'd see a Black woman. I remember I started asking, like, where are we? I asked this Black woman, like, where are we? Where are we in the yoga circles? Where are we in the coaching circles? Where are we in the healing and the transformation circles? And she was like, well, we're over there. I saw one of us over there. I saw a few of us over there, and I saw, right? And I would go to San Jose to network. I would go to Walnut Creek to network, Berkeley to network, and same. And I kept going. And I remember I went to a event in Orlando. This was 2013. I went to an event in Orlando. And how I ended up there was this coach that I had found out about on the internet. She went on tour. She lived on the East Coast, but she came here on the West Coast for her tour to LA. And I was living where I am now, Northern California. She was down, so I flew down to LA. And she had this event, mostly white people there. At that event, she sold her 3-day event, which was in Orlando. So that's how I ended up at this event in Orlando. Now, prior to knowing about this woman, I had not seen any Black coaches. Let me be clear. I had not seen any Black coaches that were at a level for me to hire them to help me. Okay, let me be clear about that. I had seen other coaches who were at my level, but I had never seen anybody at a higher level for me to go higher. So I see this woman, I'm like, wow, right? And I can also see that she's racist, right? So I did what I did to see past that, because I was like, whoa, I'm looking to build my business. This is who I see. I don't see anyone else who's I believe can help me. So I go to this event. I go to this event. It's $1,000 to get into this event. $1,000. There's about 300 people there. There are about 6 or 7, if I'm remembering right, definitely not more than 10 Black people there. Okay. So I remember being here like, whoa, like I felt like it almost felt like I was in the wrong place, but it also felt like I was in the right place, meaning I so much was it was so obviously I was the other one. You see what I mean? And I could see the look on the other Black women's faces too, of being the other one, And so that was that. So that was 2013, by the way. That was 2013, okay? Then I come back here to the Bay Area, and whenever I would go, so wait, what happened though? Oh God, there's so much. This could get so long. Because I've been around a long time, so I've seen a lot. Okay, so I ended up enrolling in so many different, VIP days, workshops, longer group coaching programs, etc. And I would always look for where the Black people were, right? And I would also go to things that were like, $20 workshops and free things, and right where I felt like it was something awesome happening. And I would always see the Black women I would always see more Black women where it was either cheap or free. First of all, cheap or free. I would always see more Black women and women of color. And wherever it costs more money, I would always see little to no Black women. So I remember the first time I enrolled in a high-end coaching program. It was a $30,000 coaching program. And this was at a white women's event who had a hell of a lot more Black people than I had ever seen at an event, right? Gosh, I got so much hair hanging out. And there were about 25 of us in this program, okay? And there were 2 other Black women in this program. One was from Jamaica and one was from, I think, Chicago. And we talked to each other, right? We were like, because whenever there's a few of us, we always sort of meet each other and, check each other out and all that. And we had conversations about us being the only ones and how and why and that kind of a thing. Then I ended up enrolling in a $50,000 coaching program, and I was the only Black woman who was there. And I look at, I'm talking to people, I'm seeing the thinking there, the vibration that's there, the way of being that's there. And at the same time, keep in mind, I'm a networker. So I'm also in these $50 workshops. I'm seeing how people are thinking and acting. What's also happening is I'm having a radio show. Like it was 2014, I think it was, where I had a radio show. I've had, was it three? I want to say maybe three different radio shows. I had Unapologetic Womanhood, I had Pussy Power, and I had Opulent Living. Yeah, so I had three different radio shows over the years. And they were like anyway, the frequency doesn't matter. And Black women would call in. Oh my God, the Black women would be blowing up the lines. For those of you who have been, right, who were on the line, Black women would be on the phone crying. They'd be on the phone like, oh my God, everything you're saying is like so resonating with me, and like these dramatically emotional responses, and there and asking questions and leaning in, and right, but very infrequently would a Black woman actually invest. And that was before I was this is before 2015, right? So before 2015, you could work with me for, what was it? Anywhere between like 2000 and 7, something like that, before 2015. The point is, a person could work with me. It was, relatively easier. If somebody wants to say hard or easier, right? And so I would just study. I would pay attention. I would notice like who's signing up, who's not signing up. What are the reasons women are telling me they're not signing up, right? And then I had a group where it was a very diverse group. My groups have always been free, unless it was a group that was a part of an actual paid coaching program. My Facebook groups have been free. So a lot of Black women and other women too. So remember, diverse groups, we show up to the group, glean information, eat, feast, drink, right? Wouldn't buy, or very few would buy. Meanwhile, the white women and even other women of color, right? Buying, getting clients, getting the results. And the Black women are seeing this happen. And yet they're talking about they can't afford it. They're scared. Fill in the blank. And so, right, this is what I've seen. This is how I'm coming to what I'm sharing with you guys now, right? Then last year, I offered the course 5-Figure Clients for Melanin Messengers. And this was strictly for Black people. There's so much I could even share before that even happened, but I would be here a very long time. Maybe I'll share more later. And that course showed me in the way that I had never seen before the intense emotion and how most of us are so controlled by our intense emotions. We are so easily taken out of the game by strong emotions. I know a man, his name is Master Nigel, and he talks about the gift of negative emotion. And that is so pertinent for melanin folk, is to learn. Maybe you could look up D.B. Bedford, because he teaches Black intelligence, which is basically how to get control over one's emotion. So the emotional aspect, as well as a lot of what we have inherited, it is not ours, but we hold it as ours. Okay. Ancestral pain, even pain from our living parents and grandparents, carrying it as ours. The burden of colonial thinking, the burden of who we were treated as, the burden of seeing oneself as inferior, the burden of all this. And couple that with poor wealth consciousness. That's why. That's why. That's why. Man. And here's the wild. It's not wild. I mean, to me, it's just, it is, right? All of everything that I just said, particularly wealth consciousness aside, everything else I said about all the lies and the illusions about oneself, etc., that flipped upside down actually primes us to be leaders. That is the whole mind fuck of it all. You know, seeing oneself as inferior versus flipping it and seeing oneself as superior. You know, the burden of being insignificant, the burden of, right? And walking around like that's yours. Garden inferiority with your life versus how significant you are. How do I even talk to this? Right? The significance of who you are. In so many ways, isn't it obvious? Like, with yourself. Have you ever done this where you sit down? So you've experienced where you sit down and your mind just pretty much runs a lot of the same thoughts. Studies say that most humans, 80%, maybe more than that, 90% of their thoughts every day is the same thoughts, which is why people's lives remain the same. And things change when you start intentionally thinking new thoughts. But have you ever intentionally suspended your thoughts, right? And sat in the sun or sat at the beach or sat somewhere, you know, in a garden, and your thoughts, for whatever reason, suspended temporarily, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, and you felt the profoundness of yourself? Has that ever happened? Have you ever felt the communication between your sun and the moon? I mean, your skin, your sun and the moon. Yeah, that too. I mean, your skin. That's what I was going to say. Your skin and the sun. Have you ever felt the communication between your skin and the moon, your skin and the stars, your skin and the sky? Have you ever felt Have you ever sat and been intimate enough with yourself to feel that, to, right, beyond your everyday inferior thoughts? So when I ask the question, do Black women have what it takes to command big money? You tell me. Melanin transformational leaders, teachers, coaches, healers. Do you have what it takes? Is because I did it, you can do it too? Listen, when I sat in that white woman's audience in Orlando that I told you about, and she said to the whole audience, all 300 of us, that each and every one of you, this is what she said to us, each and every one of you could decide right now that you're going to work with one client for $100,000, and that's your 6 figures a year. She was like, but, and she said it in like an antagonistic tone, so it was perfect. Y'all around here running from discomfort. You need to lean, yeah, I said need, lean into discomfort. Be disturbed, be bothered, and let that being bothered move you somewhere other than a gallon of ice cream, getting fat, scrolling social media, not getting nowhere, allowing the same ass low vibrational thoughts to run through your mind and your body. Be disturbed and let that drive you into highness. I was disturbed. I was bothered when she said to us, every single one of you can make, and she said it with such like, nah, 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 nah. Each and every one of you could decide right now that you could work with one client for $100,000, but you're not going to do it because you don't believe you can do it. That's what she said to us. You're not going to do it because you don't believe you can do it. When I tell you how mad I was that she said that, you know why I was mad? Because she was right. Because I was scared. Because I was worried about what I'm going to do and who even pays for that? Where are the people who pay for that? What would I even do? Wouldn't that be greedy? All of that low ass, scarcity based ass thinking. And I decided, that's what I'm saying, the gift of being disturbed, the gift of being bothered. Don't let anger drive you to being fat and overwhelmed and out of power and unable. Let anger and rage and sadness and fury and disappointment drive you to the thing that you wish to create. And along the way, find your joy so that you're not constantly using anger to fuel you, because anger is not long lasting. It'll get you started, but it's not going to sustain you. You're going to blow out your, burn yourself out using the frequency of anger to get you moving into action. But you let it start, right? And along the way, joy, and then start using joy and pleasure, right? And heart to keep you going, sustaining. So, can you? Is making $100,000 a year only reserved for certain people? Do you gotta break your back to make $100,000 a year? Black women, I'm gonna say this and I'm out of here. Black women in the transformation and coaching space are gonna have to learn emotional maturity, how to, heal what is required to be healed. A lot of y'all got old stuff that's still running your show. I mean, old, like childhood, old stuff. And that's fine, right? There's not, we all got our things. What you're gonna have to do is heal it. And on purpose. I had a conversation. I'll be here all day. But Melanin sovereignty can help you, but you're gonna have to be adult about it. Like, we're not here to baby anybody. Definitely not. Myself and anybody who is in a leadership position here with Melanin Sovereignty is to hold the standard for you to come into your sovereignty. For you to come into your sovereignty. Okay? And it's a long game. It is, it's a long game. So I'm going to be talking about next week. I'm going to be talking about sex power, and I got a really great question from a woman in the 5 Day Money Vortex about she's on a journey of coming into her power with money and her leadership in business, and something I said last week. She said. Really spoke to something she's recognizing, that as she comes into her power, her vagina is included. Common sense ain't so common sometimes, huh? Folks think they can be all like, "Oh, I'm about to work," and being powerful, and somehow the pussy has nothing to do with it. Yeah, that don't have nothing to do with this. We over here talking about the work and saving lives, but this power, coochie power, ain't got nothing to do with it. Yeah, okay. Let's see how long that lasts. Where'd that take you? See, colonial thinking and misogyny and Western perversion have so many of us so far removed from the sacredness of our brain, sacredness of our heart, sacredness of our vagina, that we are so removed from it. It's part of why Pussy Power Radio was even born. Was to read. It's part of why I started when I came back into the industry in 2014. My focus was on healing sexual shame. It was healing sexual shame because I could see from my own experience, from healing my own sexual shame, my own experience with sexual, I could see how so many women in the world, let alone the marketplace, were plagued, like constantly coming up against so many barriers of power and visibility and vocal expression and powerful presence. And that's like a part of off to the side, and they were trying to be here and be something and do something. But then power was over there. Pussy power was over there. Heart power was over there. What they really thought was over there. Their voice was like, their body was here, but their heart was over there. Their body was here, but their coochie was over there. Their body was here, but their thoughts were over there. So next week, I think I'm going to start on Monday with this, unless something else compelling comes through. Pussy power. And why does it matter in your sovereignty? Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here. Share this video. You are loved. Bye.